So good afternoon, everyone. This is Audrey, running the Pittsburgh Technology Council, joined today by Jonathan Kirsting, Vice President of all things marketing, media, and storytelling for the Tech Council. He's been around doing that work, listening to the pulse on the ground for a long time. And before I introduce our guests, because I'm getting hungry just having some time talking to them, so I'm pretty excited to have a lunchtime conversation with the both of these two gentlemen. I want to give a shout out to Huntington Bank for them doing work and supporting us for the entire year on running our daily show, as well as just supporting us in all things across the community. They are very active in helping the business community solve lots and lots of different problems. Don't hesitate to reach out to them. They're very civic minded, as well as super engaged in terms of the work we do across the tech economy. And then 40 by 80, the wholly owned subsidiary of the Pittsburgh Tech Council. That's the latitude and longitude of Pittsburgh. And our focus is on workforce development and making sure that we're not leaving people behind for the next iteration of job opportunities across Southwestern Pennsylvania, and including entrepreneurship. So listen, this is our opportunity to just listen to our guests. You can ask questions. This is all about them. This is not a time for us to sell our wares. This is not a time for us to do any kind of self-promotion. We're focusing on our two guests who I'm introducing right now. So the first is Justin Steele. He's the owner and chef of Bar Marco, and he's going to tell us all about Bar Marco and what he's been up to, etc. And then we also have this fine gentleman here, Jeremy Swartzfager. And he is with us, and he is the owner of Footprints Farm. And you might wonder, what do the two of them have to do with each other? And within a moment, you're going to find out. So thank you both for being with us today, taking the time and really letting us sort of get immersed in terms of the world that we really do care about. You're part of the ecosystem here. Your work matters to us. The COVID doing what it did in terms of our region, as well as around the world, in terms of restaurants and food supplies, etc. Just you name it. I know the both of you have been touched by it. So I'm going to kick off and welcome Jeremy. Jeremy, come to tell us about what you've been up to and how you're holding up. So tell us about Bar Marco, a little bit about some history, and then we'll get into some questions and answers. So are you originally from Pittsburgh? What's the reason for Bar Marco? I mean, there's a big vision around that work, the restaurant, that I think people would be interested in hearing.
Sure. I grew up in Erie and lived in the suburbs of Pittsburgh for 15 years. Can you hear me all right, Audrey?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Great. And my wife's family had a 400-acre farm that was vacant.
I know. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we were able to move there and start what we dreamed about in our 10 years of marriage prior. And that was connecting with folks like Justin and so many other chefs and in-home chefs across the counties to provide food that was raised in a way they could feel good about, that was extremely nutrient dense, and that was super fresh. So my wife and I, about 10 years ago, moved to the farm and began building a family and a business that directly serves customers just like Justin and so many others, with fresh chicken, fresh eggs, fresh vegetables, pork that was slaughtered the day before, very fresh ingredients, so that they could deliver to their customers this amazing eating experience.
So let me switch around. I think I switched the names around, and I was focusing on Bar Marco, and I apologize that I swapped it around. So Jeremy, you actually moved out of Pittsburgh to start this work?
Correct. To Fayette County.
Okay. So let's get and talk to Justin real quick about Bar Marco. Give us a little bit of the history.
Yeah, so Bar Marco was founded by me and my three best friends from high school, really about 10 years ago. We all quit our day jobs, and much to our parents' dismay, and kind of followed a passion, which was for the four of us to come together and start our own business, and in particular this restaurant. was a time in Pittsburgh when there weren't many restaurants like this, which is one of the things that drove us to do this sort of space and this type of food. We had experienced similar concepts traveling through Europe or just even other parts of the country. Two of the partners originally moved back from New York, and the dining that we were experiencing in these other cities and countries just wasn't something that was happening here 10 years ago. Now, thankfully, there are dozens of great places, like-minded people, chef-driven restaurants like this, and really inviting atmospheres. So we're in good company now, but it wasn't the case 10 years ago. And really, it was we were able to kind of succeed and make it to this point, just kind of out of a little bit of luck maybe at the beginning, but a lot of determination and hard work, just kind of like anything else.
Mm-hmm. You definitely forged the path in Pittsburgh. I mean, if you could just brag on that a little bit, I'd say you should own it. You definitely forged the path. It was noticeable, shifting conversations about your food, your approach, your engagement with community. I mean, you should brag about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm getting better at owning some of this stuff, but yeah, it was kind of, we just weren't going to take no for an answer. Even when we started, we had no restaurant experience, literally. I was a busser. I bussed tables in high school and through college. That was literally it. When we opened, I was a chef by default because I was really the best cook. But we knew what we wanted to do. And because it wasn't something that was going on in Pittsburgh at the time, maybe there was maybe a little pushback or whatever, but we were just confident in the product and what we were going to do. And we were either going to fail or we weren't. And that was okay. We were just committed and committed to kind of seeing our vision through.
Mm-hmm. And then for a while, did you have a place in East Liberty?
We did. We opened a second bar
Right.
in East Liberty. It's called the Livermore. And that bar thrived for a couple of years, and
Right.
we took a lease next door without really a definitive plan, and just
Right.
at the end of the day, it was just we took on a little bit more than we had planned or could chew, and there was, I don't know, we moved forward and learned from it, and a little bit of a relief when it honestly closed, because we were able to kind of shift our focus and focus more back on Bar Marco, which is kind of where our passion has always been.
Well, I think that people need to understand that you really are entrepreneurial, and what you're doing is entrepreneurship right at its core. So you did some experimentation. There was a lot of growth in East Liberty. There were some, cool things going on right on that Highland Avenue, and there still are, right?
Yeah.
So I think you might have been first mover in there, and sometimes first mover isn't the last one standing.
Yeah, we went in when the Ace Hotel was going in, and we were even talking in talks with some of the developers for that project, and we had looked at that. We looked at the restaurant space in that hotel, and then eventually just decided on the corner of Baum and Highland there. But yeah, so it was
made some good moves. You made some good moves, Justin. Look where you would have been today.
Yeah, right.
I mean, no more Ace Hotel, and all those changes. So you were before your time. I mean it. And so, Jeremy, did you have any experience in farming or in anything in raising meat and vegetables and all the things that you're doing now?
I've had experience every day of my childhood. My grandmother grew up on a market garden and the Great Depression. And so I spent every day with my grandmother during my childhood. Of course, I hated weeding, hated collecting eggs, and hated moving cows as they were being milked at my uncle's farm next door. But I love the groundedness that it brought me. I love the simple design of creation that allows a simple seed to magically turn into food that tastes amazing. It's still amazing that, as a milligram of a seed can produce thousands of pounds of other seeds just by design, all intrinsically right in front of our eyes in the creation. So my background was in building water and wastewater plants. I started that right out of high school, finished a college degree, built about 20 in the Pittsburgh area, and then my employer had passed away. And so that transitioned me to a point where I was really hungry to go back to my roots and to connect with that very simple nature component that was so peaceful and life-giving to myself and my grandma, my whole family growing up. My mom always had a half-acre garden, and
Wow.
we ate everything from the garden for about 6 months of the year. I walked around the knees of my uncles and great uncles and grandparents as they butchered a cow or a pig. In my childhood, I remember the taste of fresh cracklings. And a lot of the motivation for starting the farm was to share that experience with my children, Brian's family, so many other families, right? As we share what God has given us on our simple little place.
But you have a particular way of farming. Can you talk about that and the people that work for you as well?
Yeah, so really the farming system is designed around harvesting solar energy. And what that involves is every animal that lives on the farm, once it's an adult, spends its entire life outside. It's moved to new patches of grass, new pastures, new hay fields, new lawns, so that each animal can digest ample amounts of grass. Imagine how healthy you'd be if you ate a pound of spinach with every meal. And it allows us to farm in a way that doesn't require any pharmaceuticals. Our only 3 pharmaceuticals are apple cider vinegar, garlic, and tobacco occasionally.
Tobacco. Okay.
And it allows every part of the farm to continue in a big cycle where the cattle graze an area, the chickens clean it up, they allow for better grass to grow, our meat chickens harvest it, and then our pigs do all of our tillage. And so it's a very simple system that allows each animal to express its nature.
Wow. And so, Jeremy, what about how many people do you have and how large is the farm?
The farm is about 400 acres, and currently we only have 2 full-time employees. During the height of our season, we'll have about 6. We're just now in the ramp-up phase, right? As that spring grass is starting to grow. It greened up yesterday and a little bit today. And our main season starts in May 1st. We are super thankful to be located near a 3-quarter house in Farmington, Pennsylvania, where we meet a lot of gentlemen that are in heroin recovery. And after they've been through a portion of that program, they come out to the farm and experience what peace is. They get away from all their troubles of the world and they start to rebuild their lives together. It's a very, very ripe place for some amazing relationships, great purpose. And also, when everything else is falling apart and you know you can show up and have a meaningful work, it really gives the guys an amazing boost in starting their life over again.
Wow. Wow. So, Justin, how did the 2 of you partner, and how does that work? So, can you give us a little bit like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I know we were hosting Justin Severino who formerly of Cure and now who owns Morcia. One of the best Pittsburgh chefs, bar none. Fantastic chef, but he was hosting an event here. I think it was a whole hog butchering class and luncheon, and Jeremy was providing the hog for that day. And I think I just met Jeremy, passing him in the kitchen, and he asked if we'd be interested in working together at some point in the future. And I'm sure I'd had his products at Cure and at Justin's restaurants before, but didn't really know Jeremy or the farm. But yeah, one of the things with the food here is it's very, very simple food at Bar Marco. So we need to have the best ingredients that we can get our hands on, because we try to let the ingredients shine. So we're always open to finding new and better ingredients. And Jeremy's products, because of all the things that he just explained, certainly fit the bill. And it's the best that we can get. So that's how that started.
So how far out are you, Jeremy, from the strip where they are in Bar Marco? How far is the drive?
Yeah, so we're about 52 miles.
Okay.
That's about an hour. And I think, Justin, when we first met, I think you helped me carry that pig up those flights of steps.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great story. So you have relationships, Jeremy, with other restaurants as well, as Justin just spoke about. And you also have a chicken farm, Jeremy? Is that true?
Yes. So we raise chickens, pork, beef, eggs, and vegetables, and deliver fresh to about 30 restaurants across the Tri-County region.
Okay. Wow. So Justin, I want to go back to you in Bar Marco. One of the things that's also very special about Bar Marco, you were the first probably in Pittsburgh, I don't know, in the state of Pennsylvania, to have a different model, and in many ways a more traditional model of how your employees were paid. And you're one of the few in the United States that did that. So can you talk about that and why?
Yeah, so maybe it was probably 7 years ago at this point, which seems like a long time for now. But
Yeah.
we decided to do away with traditional or untraditional, really, restaurant model of paying employees through tips, and decided to put everybody on staff on full salary and provide healthcare and paid days off, and really all the things that go along with a air quotes normal job. About 3 years in, again, we started with no experience, and we made it to a 3-year mark, and we kind of looked at ourselves and said, how the hell did we get here? And it was really by having and hiring great, passionate employees who really treated this hospitality industry as a career and not just a side job or something to pay some bills while they got through college. So we wanted, if they were treating this as a profession, we thought that we needed to treat them as career employees and as professionals. So that's how we kind of made that jump.
So you did away with tips. You paid people a decent salary. And so no one ever tips at Bar Marco?
They certainly try. And at the beginning, there was a bunch of pushback, and people were outraged, really, and they just didn't understand it. So whenever we do get tips, they go to a charity or some kind of case. But if you pay with a credit card, which 90% of people do, there's not even a line to tips, so you cannot.
But if I wanted to hand you a $20 bill and say an amazing meal.
Yeah, a server would argue back and forth with you for a little bit, but at the end of the day, they would take it and it would go to charity or some nonprofit.
Wow. So you built a business model that is, in many ways, that just makes it work. And yeah. I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, anybody that goes to work at a bank, right? They're not tipped, and they do a perfectly fine job. You don't need tips. Tips are, it's a flawed system, and people think that then people who come to work aren't incentivized or whatever. But it's just not the case. And we found that we have built a better team, and our employee retention has been way better doing this way. And I don't know that it's a model for everybody, but I think that other folks should at least consider why we did it and how maybe it could benefit them. But let's
talk about COVID. Let's just a little bit, like what did you do? How did you adapt? And I'm going to ask the same thing of Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, literally a year ago, right, was when we had to shut down. I think a year and a week ago, like everybody else in the world, we didn't really know what was going on. So we tried to be careful and wash our hands and do all the stuff. But we closed down and then just tried to do takeout every day and basically provide our full menu. Because again, we didn't know what was going on, and we were just trying to survive and make it. And over the course of the ensuing days and weeks, we realized that we had to close our doors and sort of transition to doing really just takeout a few nights a week. And it became very apparent very quickly that we just had to survive and kind of do whatever we could just to kind of make it through. And through some of the government loans, the PPP loan, the EIDL, economic disaster relief. I mean, we've been able to kind of bridge that gap. And now, thankfully, we're sort of seeing the light here at the end of the tunnel. And Governor Wolf just announced the other day that on April 4th, we can go back to 75% for indoor dining and the likes. But our dining room is still very, very small. So 75% for us to still make sure that people are 6 feet apart doesn't do a ton for indoor dining. So we're trying to figure out what the next few months looks like and how we do want to ramp up and try to get back to whatever the new normal is, and take really what we've learned over the last year and figure out how these concepts will apply and what we want to take from the last year and keep going. Now, takeout will always be a part of what we do and probably a part of what all restaurants do. We did very, very little takeout before just because our food wasn't really suited to it, but we've had to change the menu and adapt some dishes and make them more suitable for folks to take home.
I know, it's interesting. Whoever would have thought, right? Whoever would have thought that you would have done takeout. And now it's going to be part of your fabric a little bit, right? And you're going to be able to have seats outside. So once the weather breaks, you'll have seats outside. So that'll help. And what about events? Because you did events, and I'm going to talk to Jeremy about events as well.
Yeah, events we're still able to do in limited quantity with the 75%. That'll help because we have an event space upstairs that holds 50 to 60 guests. What we won't do 50 or 60 currently, but we can host 30 or 40 people spaced out, and we have enough space for that. So that's been good. I think as folks kind of see the weather kicking, we're getting more and more requests for bridal showers, weddings, rehearsal dinners, those things, those family events that really folks weren't able to celebrate last year. So there's definitely some pent up demand that we're thankful to be seeing.
And then just talk a little bit about the wine, or you call it, it's a room that you could, it's a private dining.
Yeah, it's down in our wine cellar. We have one table that kind of seats 10 people communally. We used to seat, if you had 2 people and another group had 2 people and then there was a party of 4, we used to seat communally. We've obviously stopped with that, but yeah, now we can host up to 10 people kind of from the same group. And that's been really great because then they're secluded in their own room. There's nobody else around. People can feel more comfortable, and it's a inviting kind of intimate space.
And then the other thing, before I go over to Jeremy, if we order from Jeremy's farm, we can pick it up at Bar Marco. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think through Jeremy's website, and he can definitely speak more to that, but he comes down. I think for a while it was every week, and it's sort of like a little CSA kind of situation.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, and gets more people into Bar Marco too, just to see what you guys are up to. So it's a nice relationship. So Jeremy, let's talk about COVID. Let's talk about COVID and how it affected your livelihood.
Yeah, unfortunately in farming, all your decisions are made at least a year in advance. And so if you can imagine a production pipeline that's swinging up, our old model was that we were 100% seasonal and 100% fresh. And we had our whole year production growing. Pigs, we have to decide a year in advance when that boar goes in with the sow, how many babies we're going to need. And chickens is a 3 to 4 month turnaround, turkey 6 months, beef 3 years. So for us, there was a real scramble, obviously, at the end of March. And I remember calling Justin and asking him, hey, basically, we're going to be in trouble if we don't move this. And so Justin was gracious enough to allow us to use his parking lot. We still do that every week, alternating between Wednesday and Thursday. And so we began to reach out to many other farms, all of our wholesale accounts. Again, who would have thought that 30 customers, 6 universities would have just closed all in a matter of a week?
Right.
Our business would have been turned upside down. But again, Justin was gracious. We now delivered to about 300 families in the Pittsburgh area.
Wow.
During April last year, we were up to almost 500 families that were ordering from us because of just the large demand in food uncertainty. And so our model changed. We went from having everything fresh, butchered by my hands the day before, to we could offer things frozen. And we also really got into further processing our products with some snack sticks and jerky that I'll tell you about, just to hold the shelf life, because those year-old decisions were already made. And thankfully, as soon as things kind of got reorganized, Justin was able to purchase things for takeout and still use those fine ingredients. And then for a lot of events, he's been plugging us along the way. It's been a unique year, though, in 2021, because the whole restaurant industry is still shaken, right? And normally I would meet with Justin in February and ask him what to grow for him that coming year. This year, though, everyone is uncertain and can't make those predictions because we felt the response of government oversight
Mhm.
and closures, and it was out of our control. So this year's model will be a lot like last year's model as far as production and still providing the high quality ingredients and the farming activity, but it might not be one day fresh anymore. I just couldn't manage that every day.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be cautious. You've got to be cautious. You're acting, you know, in the right way. So Justin, the restaurant Bar Marco is open now, right? And soon you're gonna be able to have 75% capacity. I'm hoping that you put your picnic tables and tables outside very soon, right? And maybe that will equate to indoor dining of 100%. I don't know. But what's on the menu now? Give us some good, like if we were to stop by, what's your favorite dish right now? What are you serving?
Yeah, so I mean, at Bar Marco, we've always changed the menu very, very frequently,
Right.
Daily, even
Mhm.
bi-weekly. Now we're at least trying to have a little bit of stability, but we still want to keep I don't want to stifle the creativity from the folks in the kitchen and also in myself. So we change it every two or 3 weeks now. So we new menu tonight for this weekend's takeout. We actually have coincidentally one of Jeremy's chickens on the menu. So we're doing a half of a Footprints Farm roasted chicken. And again, we just treat it super, super simply, just pan roasted with a little bit of olive oil, butter, some fresh sage, and then serving it with some really beautiful, just simply roasted potatoes and Italian sofrito, which is like cooked down carrots, celery, and onion in some really nice olive oil. And that's it. We just try to buy these really, really nice ingredients and basically not screw them up. There's always pasta on the menu. So this weekend's pasta is the last of last year's pesto. So there's almost 8 months out of the year, there's probably some sort of pesto on the menu, whether it's kale pesto or in the height of summer, really fresh basil pesto. Last year again, all these farmers had all of these crops and all of these products. So all the produce was still available because, like Jeremy said, a lot of these planting decisions are already made. So there was plenty of basil, plenty of kale and ramps last spring. So we still produced and made the pestos and things like that, but we stored them and froze them. So this weekend next will be the last of last year's pesto on the menu, and then hopefully the weather cooperates and we can get some spring vegetables here and start at it again.
What about dessert?
A really beautiful Tuscan rice and egg custard torte, which is like a really popular like Easter sort of style cake from Tuscany. And we've been doing a lot of Millie's ice cream. So I don't know
Nice.
if a lot of people on the call know Millie's ice cream, but Chad and Lauren, who own Millie's, are really good friends of ours, and we love their ice cream. So we have they did a spumoni for us, which is like
Oh yeah,
Italian combination of pistachio, chocolate, and strawberry ice cream. So we have their ice creams to go as well.
Okay, like I'm salivating now.
Yeah.
Okay, really, really good job, Justin. And Jeremy, what are you delivering? What do you have right now that you think people should know about, that they should? Hopefully, I don't know, Jonathan, if we put out their websites so that people can go out there. Okay, it's been out there. So what do you have that we should think about? You mentioned eggs, chicken, pork.
Yep, right now we're delivering fresh eggs to the city every week, 14 different locations for families every month. And we are delivering frozen chicken. We're delivering all grass-fed beef. We still process our pork every 2 weeks. So we've got fresh ground sausage, bacon, hams for Easter. And right now we're just on the upswing. The ground is broken. We planted our first seeds last week. And the weather forecast looks super, super high potential to have greens here in late March, and then everything else following in May.
Okay, so if are you near Nemacolin?
We're very near Nemacolin, yes.
Okay, so people can, if they're at Nemacolin, they can just swing by.
Correct. Saturday mornings and Monday evenings.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, don't drop in any other time, right?
Fortunately, we're going to put you to work.
And then, so what about Bar Marco? I'm getting hungry right now. So tell me your hours or what, and we're gonna make sure that we share this.
Yeah, of course. So we're open. We're doing takeout right now, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday evenings.
Okay.
And then we're also, again, hosting folks in the wine room downstairs, up to 10 guests, sort of by reservation. So we're open. If folks want to come in on a Monday and enjoy dinner, we'll come in and cook. We're not really limited to Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. And then probably around the 1st of April, we're gonna kick some outdoor dining and expand hours a little bit, probably four or 5 days a week, and have some outdoor dining as long as the weather cooperates a little bit. And also right now, a big part of our pivot this year was launching a to-go wine program with some former employees of ours. 2 young ladies were very passionate about the types of wines that we were serving in the restaurants and that they were getting to pour every night at service. And we had to figure out how to still be able to get these delicious wines to the great people of Pittsburgh. So Christy and Celine launched a company called 9 O'Clock Wines, and we've partnered with them and created a little to-go wine bottle shop in the dining room of Bar Marco, since there's now plenty of room without folks eating in here.
Well, listen, what you're doing is the same kind of thing that we care about across the tech ecosystem, is creating a real ecosystem where people collaborate, they leverage from one another's skills, and they use that as a trampoline to launch their companies. And it's amazing. It's amazing, Justin, what you've done with Bar Marco. I've been a fan since the onset. I can't wait to come back in. Thank you for joining us today. And Jeremy, It's great to meet you and to hear about all your passion and your farming techniques, and really caring, because we've seen so much go under. We've seen so much go under, both Jeremy in your space. We've seen farms close up, right? And that's hurt the restaurant industry. And then we've seen just the devastation in terms of, the restaurant industry. And that is really what both of you do, is so important to the kinds of people that are working and building the future for tomorrow. We can't do it without the work that you're both doing and building. So I want to thank you both for being with us today. Everyone, reach out. We've given the links. People are saying, check out the chicken parmesan at Bar Marco. I say, check out the pesto and an amazing dessert. They have great appetizers as well. I mean, they always change up, have amazing cheeses. And Jeremy, I'll be sure to check out your farm, and we'll be making sure that people know about you and that we'll continue to support you. The collaboration is just phenomenal. So my hat's off to both of you. I won't make any jokes about your hat, Jeremy, but my hat's off to both of you. And I know it's cold out, and I know that you're farming, so I'll keep my sarcasm to myself. But thank you, Justin. Thanks for being a leader. Thank you, Jeremy, for all you do. And everyone, have an amazing weekend. Jonathan, before we go, what's up for next week?
We're kicking off Monday with a really fun conversation we're going to enjoy between AYA Instruments and Maxwell Motors, helping them build electric delivery vans, which I think is a really cool topic. We love all things EV here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we love all things electric, Justin and Jeremy. So we're trying to make sure that we're leveraging our assets here and getting ready for the future and caring about our environment and climate. So see, we all care about the same things, right? And then good, we have a packed week next week. Everyone stay safe. It's sunny out, might be a little cold. Take advantage of both of these guys' companies, because their success is our success. So I can't thank you both. Justin, nice seeing you again. Nice meeting you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Audrey.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Bye.